What's up guys, Caleb here with another installment of Reality Check, and today we are talking about the Lenovo Y720, the Legion. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so the Lenovo Legion Y720. It's a pretty darn decent laptop. It's got some really good hardware specs, but it is not flawless. It does have its issues, so why don't we look into a little bit more detail about that. Inside, we've got a GTX 1060 with 6 gigabytes of virtual RAM, coupled with an i7-7700 processor. It's native 2.8 gigahertz, but it can be overclocked to 3.8. That's not bad either. When you take those two things together, you're gonna get a pretty solid performance out of this beast. But when you look at it a little bit closer, you start to see a little bit of the flaws creep out, and it doesn't seem as perfect as it does at a first glance. So looking at this puppy, you'll see we've got a nice aluminium top over here, an aluminium bottom over here, so it's a pretty rugged, solid body. I mean, it is a bit heavy. Once you pick it up, it's kind of chunky. The top does feel a little bit plasticky. I mean, even if you just, like, that doesn't sound like metal to me. Also, one thing I want to point out is that in a lot of the video reviews we watched and a lot of the promos, this bastard, excuse my language, this bugger, that is just colorful plastic. There's no light there. What is that about? Come on. It could be on the 4K monitor. It could light up over there. We don't know for sure, but it's definitely not on this one as advertised in the product specs. I mean, the display is pretty decent as far as laptop monitors go. It's not incredibly bright, so you're gonna have a couple of problems using your laptop in outdoor lighting. Moving down to this. This is where a couple of the serious problems lie in terms of the user experience and the design of this Legion laptop. First of all, the trackpad. It's like you're running your finger through cement. It does not track as a trackpad is supposed to. I know it's a gaming laptop and a lot of gamers would not even touch the trackpad with a 10-foot pole, but I still think they could have put a little bit more effort into the built-in trackpad, because sometimes you don't always have the option to use a mouse. It's a little bit inaccessible and it's not very responsive. The keyboard's pretty good, so you can rotate the different color options that you have by holding in the FN key and the space bar. And what you can do is cycle between a pattern of really randomly displaced 4 oscillating colors. Another option you have is for flashing 4 different colors that are also really randomly displaced. And the third option that you have is just a straight up 2 separate colors that are displaced directly around the middle. So that is a little bit of a mess. I'm not so sure how I feel about that, but luckily the actual functionality of the keyboard is pretty solid. I'm about that life. It's good. I feel like technology has taken the step towards where pretty much any piece of new tech that you get is going to be fairly well balanced in terms of the ins and outs that you can use. On the right hand side, we've got 2 USB 3 ports. We've also got a mini display port. We've got an HDMI port. We've got a USB-C port, which is really, really great, but pretty nice and versatile on that side. And then on this side over here, Ethernet cable, another USB 3. I also like it when laptops do that. It's just like a simple way to avoid crossing over or like a lack of USB ports. We've got the power supply input over here. That is your mag lock, basically. So if you just want to pop something in there with a little code. And there's also a 3.5 headphone jack, which is also pretty standard on all laptops, but a nice, well-rounded in and out section. You can pretty much do all the things you need to do with this laptop. If you want to hook it up to a 4K monitor, do some gaming, that's an option for you. Okay, now one of the great, and when I say great, I mean excellent features of this laptop are its built-in speakers. Like, these things are incredible, you guys. The volume, the quality, the dynamic range of the sound, it is all pretty darn good. The best that I've heard out of a lot of gaming laptops. It's one of the key selling features of this thing. Very, very cool. Also, just a note, it's got a sub on the bottom. Like, look at that. That's so rad. There's a little sub there. So you get a nice sound from this. I'm gonna hit play just so you can get an idea. I'll hover.
But I've been with the pole, B-E-Z-S-E rolls, roll.
Yeah, boy. Yeah, you heard me.
Hey, cats. Come on.
Like, that is completely out of what you would expect from a laptop, 9 times out of 10.
Chill, chilly, really penguin feather roll. Promethazine, yeah, stepping stone. Oh, they acting up. Get your weapons wrong. They only killing time. Another
Now just wait for that bass to kick in. You gonna learn today. So, I mean, great, right? You can't knock that. That's decent. That's awesome. You want that from a laptop. They really, really tried hard when it came to that. So 10 out of 10 for the audio speakers. Okay, cool. So we did a little bit of a benchmark test against the Acer Predator Helios 300 15-inch. In terms of the 3D Mark Firestrike, which tests the notebook graphics performance, the Lenovo Legion scored a measly 2,404, whereas the Acer Predator got a 9,929. So that's pretty much 1/3 in comparison of the quality. We also did a 3D Mark Ice Storm Unlimited test. The Lenovo Legion scored 114,533, whereas the Acer Predator scored 147,621. It's not such a massive difference, so it does pretty well in that regard in terms of its gaming performance. The battery life, in terms of continuous web surfing over wireless until battery drain, the Lenovo Legion scored 6:19 ratio, whereas the Acer Predator got a 6:48. Pretty darn close. The color gamut, the Lenovo Legion scored 73, whereas the Acer Predator Helios got 81. So close, really, really close, you guys. Not bad at all. Now, in terms of the display brightness measured in nits, we've got the Lenovo Legion scoring a 210, whereas the Acer Predator scores 226. Now, that is a very, very almost unnoticeable, immeasurable difference. And the hard drive speed, the Lenovo scored 164.17, and the Acer Predator scored 188.49. We also did a benchmark test on GTA 5 with the Lenovo and the Acer, and the Lenovo scored 47, whereas the Acer Predator scored 49. That is a completely marginal difference. It's not even something you'll pick up on with the human eye. So really, really well done on that front. Okay, and now it's time for the money talk. Money talk. At the time of this recording, this laptop came in at about 25,000 Rand purchased online. Now, that's not bad if you compare it to other laptops with similar specs in the same price range. You get value for money, you get what you're paying for, and what you get is pretty darn good. You get the GTX 1060, it's got 6 gigabytes of RAM. You've got the i7 7700 that can overclock to 3.8 gigahertz, and that has 16 gigabytes of RAM. Those two things alone should make you just pop a little bit. You're like, okay, damn, this is something worth considering. Okay, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this week's installment of Reality Check. Let me know what you think about how large my foot is in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about the Lenovo Legion Y720 in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next week for another installment of Reality Check.